Am I more in shot? And then I'll edit this bit out later. The internet's going up and down like a yo-yo, and we're 38 seconds to go. Good evening, all. Good evening, everyone. Remember to comment, like, and share. Say hello. Geordie Burke says, oh, yes. No, that's on RedTube, that is. Geordie, you watch that on RedTube. Now, here we go. It's 10 o'clock GMT. It's 10 degrees outside. Is it? What temperature is it outside? No, it's 5 degrees outside now. It's got colder. It was 10 degrees this afternoon. It was quite mild. Welcome along to the show. Marty is sitting there with his whiskey. Trevor's in as well. If you're in, let us know. Comment, like, and share. And fingers crossed the internet will be kind to us tonight, because otherwise people tell us off. It's nothing we can do about it, Marty, is there?
Not a thing, Justin. Not a thing. Evening, folks. How are we?
Now, this week, first of all, you near give yourself carbon monoxide poisoning, and then you near blew yourself up. Tell us all.
Right. I have this little paraffin lamp that I have, right? And it's just a wee ordinary paraffin lamp. And I like the light of it when it helps me sleep. So I lit it last Sunday night, and I woke up on Monday morning feeling a little bit drowsy. And I thought, right, I got up and go to the toilet. Got up. And whenever I rubbed my nose, and it was black. The lamp had been billowing out smoke. It didn't catch fire, and it just had been putting out this soot all over the place. And the room was absolutely covered. Honestly, I have to repaint the whole room. I haven't done it yet because I couldn't be bothered. But it didn't dawn on me until you said, you know, that whenever it's doing black smoke, it means it's not burning properly and it's pumping out carbon monoxide. So that was number one. Then my TV has collapsed. I don't know what happened. The TV upstairs, that went kaput. And then worst of all,
I forgot about that.
I was making coffee in my little coffee pot. Well, it's actually quite a big coffee pot. So water goes in here. There's a little bit of this sort of thing is, and you heat it up. Bubbles up through, comes out, all fanny's run. I went out to check it. Hadn't bubbled through. Came in, was messing about on the internet. Went back out again, checked it again. Came in here, and all bang. I went out. The thing exploded. Just absolutely claried the whole kitchen was covered in coffee. The thing just pressurized and blew up. So I kind of thought to myself, that's the three bad things that's happened. You know, that's that done. So this coffee pot's for the bin. I'm actually sort of scared myself with it. It went off like a hand grenade. You heard the bang. So the universe has conspired against me this week, but I'm here now, and I'm drinking this rather lovely stuff. The red silky has arrived. I just don't.
Right. Well, I'm actually going to show people. I'm going to show people this actual coffee pot saga, and they will actually be frightened when they see this, because when they see this up close and personal, they will actually think, "Wow, you're dead lucky." Now, where do you see this here? Look at that coffee pot. Look at that there. That is the state of Marty's normally pristine kitchen. And you can see that there. I don't know where you can see it in your screen at this end or not. That is how bad it is. That's how bad it is at the minute. So we will tell people about the show. What's on the show tonight, Marty? What's happening this week?
We're going to do the news as usual, and then this week it's a little bit different. This week it's a little bit sort of disjointed in some ways, but there's a commonality, there's a theme coming through. And what I mean by that is it's places with whiskey in the title, either officially or unofficially. Okay? There's logic behind it. Once we get into it, you'll understand. And there's some very good and funny stories about it. So I'm kind of excited for this, and I think this will be a good one.
Now, Peter McCabe's asking, is there going to be any joint jaunty headgear this evening. I think we need a hard hat, actually, if you're going to do anything in the show tonight. Linda Cox is saying hello from Canada, and a drop of the Irish is saying, I'm having oak divil. Need to know if Marty's okay with that, or shall I throw it out straight away?
You drink whatever you want to drink. If you enjoy it, good. If you don't, it would need to be bad for me not to finish it. There is a few that I've never finished. I couldn't. I normally pass them on to my old friend, the Exorcist, because you drink anything. But well, he would. You know as well as I do. He would. Anyone that doesn't know, he's called the Exorcist because he makes all my spirits disappear. But no, so drink away. This I purchased this a wee while ago, and it only came yesterday. I opened it earlier on, and this is rather lovely stuff. This is a strange mix because it's double distilled, triple distilled, and peated malts, and it's finished in 2 different wine casks. It's a very sort of hodgepodgey mixed up thing, but it actually works really well. So it's very nice, very fruity, nice. So it is, yeah, good. So, will we get on with the news, Justin?
We will. John Donna saying Oak Devil. He's in the Bush 21 cast strength tonight, so that's a good a man with taste there.
It's whenever we do the news, it's a man who I'm really scared to open an Irish whiskey these days in case I'm bankrupting my son's future inheritance. By the way whiskey prices are going, but we'll get to that in a bit. So here is the news. Now, Justin and I do the podcast on a Wednesday, and we were talking about whiskey reports. Another one came out last week by who was it? The Board Beer down in the Republic. 2020 it's played its part on Irish whiskey and all other alcohol. Alcohol exports have dropped 19% to €1.3 billion, and that's in part to do with COVID and also US tariffs. I'll get to that in a little minute. The Board BS export performance whiskey was down by 26%, which is a massive drop, but it's still up on what it was a little bit a while ago. It's the trajectory is still up, and it's because of some extenuating circumstances. We haven't really talked about this, but in October 2019, President Trump hit a Scottish and Irish whiskey with a 25% tariff, which Scotland claim has caused a 34% decline in their sales in the US, which is enormous. The UK then retaliated the EU retaliated with a 25% tariff on US rums, brandies, vodkas, and vermouths. So the report went in, and basically there's not an awful lot of positive news came out of it. But it's 2020. What do you expect, really? Now, this sort of interest is of, well, importance to me and you, Justin. The report also talked about tourism. Drinks Ireland said that visitor attractions are dependent on the domestic market now, as well, we all know that. Certainly in the short term. So they're going to have to come up with smaller, tailor-made, high-end experiences to attract visitors. I think that's always going to be the way. I think they're going to have to do that anyway to bring people like ourselves. But that's all they're going to get. Now, you and I have both read reports this week that tourism won't be back to 2019 levels until 2024.
At least it's looking bad, actually, and they keep on extending it even further again every time, don't they?
Yeah. So people are going to have to be a bit more innovative and attract the domestic market, because there's the economy is going to have to keep moving. So it'll be interesting to find out where that's going to go. But necessity is the mother of invention, so we'll see what people come up with. But that's their outlook on the tourism. Now, touched on it briefly there. The price of Irish whiskey. And well, the price of anything to do with Irish whiskey. I have a book sitting up here above my head by an E.B. Maguire. It's a history of Irish whiskey. It was published in the 1970s, and it's out of print now. And I saw it for sale the other day for €800. €800.
Wow.
Now it was expensive. I think I paid £50 for it. But the price of these things have just went through the roof. Now, I'll give you an idea. This week saw the launch of the last of the Cologne Bonded Experimental series, which is kind of sad to see. But it sold out in seconds, really in a few minutes online. And what's happening is lots of people have seen Irish whiskey prices and are buying stuff really to flip it. And flipping is where you buy a whiskey and then just basically auction it off. You try and buy as many bottles as you can and then sell them on as quickly as possible in order to make a profit, which most people really can't stand at all. But when you see the prices that some of them are going for, Middleton 2020 is selling on the auction sites for upwards of €900. Now, it was 180 to buy, so it's a hell of a markup. The Causeway Coast Collection from Bushmills, the 2001 cask, it's going for £1,550. £1,550, not euro. Middleton 2017, about £400-ish. About 4 or 5 months ago, it was probably half that price or a little over it. Middleton 2002, £1,100. Now, Blue Spot, which I did the launch and I bought a couple of bottles of it. It's doubled in value. Now, I know that was batch number 1 that came out, but it's going to be part of the core range. It's not like a one-off special edition, but it's doubled in price. So it just seems the prices are going a little bit crazy. So I do hope it's not becoming a bubble. You know what I mean? It's just a very sort of dangerous point. People who are wanting to buy the whiskies to drink aren't really getting the opportunity to buy them because anything that's limited is getting bought, and then they're going to have to pay double to get that. So it's not a good place, really. It's not
quite a lot of our regulars are in tonight already, Marty, and some news people as well. John Dunn is saying, I'm asking, has anybody ever flipped a whiskey that's watching tonight? And also, I'm also seeing on here that Springbank refusing to send whiskey to Ireland following in steps of Amazon. Now, that's obviously to do with Brexit then, isn't it? Yeah.
There was Amazon stopped sending over whiskey. There was a change, and they were okay about it. Then they said they weren't going to send it. Then they did, and it's a bit confusing. But I think everybody's confused with Brexit. So who knows what's going to happen? Springbank's probably, after Bushmills, the closest distillery to me. I mean, it's literally just around the corner. It's just across the water and round the corner a little bit. But I think once there's a bit more clarity and things settle down, I mean, you have to remember, really, we've only had to live with Brexit for, 2 weeks or a little over it. So once things settle down, I think it'll be all right. It's just another
we
thing.
hope, fingers and toes crossed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll end up with no food in the supermarket shelves.
Justin, that would be an extreme case. We'll stockpile pot noodles. We'll be all right. Stockpile pot noodles, beans, and tea. What more do you need?
Well, if I can't get on the coronavirus diet, I might as well get on the Brexit diet, mightn't I?
That's it. They're always talking about people that they always say, save the NHS. If everybody lost about 2 stone, the NHS would be fine. So many people would be still there. So there you go. No, swings and roundabouts. Always a positive. Always look on the bright side, Justin. Silver light, every cloud and all that. Right?
True.
Exactly. You know what's true.
where are we heading now before we discover some of these exotic whiskey places? Remember to comment, like, and share on Facebook. Hit subscribe and hit the bell on YouTube as well. And remember, on Anchor on a Wednesday night, on your usual podcast places, you can find the Whiskey Wednesday half-hour whiskey show. It's totally different content than this. Marty.
Yeah. The podcast is basically me and Justin talking about something and him getting the wrong end of the stick at times, and me going, have you learned nothing in nearly a year that we've been doing this? Now, this week saw Mary Nicholson celebrated her 106th birthday. Now, this happens quite regularly. You get people coming on and they're putting it on the screen and they've had their birthday. They're a super centenarian and they get asked, what's the secret? And pretty much most of them say a wee drop of whiskey. Mary was 106. So she was born during World War I. She saw 3 flu pandemics. She's had COVID twice. She's one of the people that was unlucky enough to have it twice. She got her vaccine this week as well. But she said the key to her long life was full-fat milk, cream, butter, and a tipple of whiskey. So there you go. You can't argue the evidence, Justin. It's all there. It's there.
I think I seen her on the TV. She seemed to be totally with it, actually, when she was chatting away as well, which is always a good thing.
Wait, for somebody that's been drinking whiskey for 106 years.
There's Julie saying, really enjoying the podcast. Keep them coming. Yes, they're a new thing for 2021. Every Wednesday, you'll get them on all the major podcast platforms, even on Spotify, which Marty never thought he'd appear on. I always thought I'd never appear on Place 6, but that's another story.
Yeah, well, not on the side that you appeared on. Now, this is a very weird one, right? We'll talk about that. Adverts that don't really say anything. Do you remember there was one for milk a long time ago? People in Northern Ireland would know the one I mean. It was in black and white, and it was shot like an avant-garde movie, and nobody could understand what it was for. And it turned out it was for milk. Well, this advert, it's a collaboration, and I really don't understand it, the concept behind it. But do you want to stick it on?
Well, the good news is it's age restricted and only available on YouTube. So I'm going to send you the link and you can watch it at your leisure, because we can't actually play it in this because we have special dispensation to play stuff on Facebook off YouTube, which is complicated. But if you pay big money for a big app, you can get these permissions. But I can't actually play it. But it's it starts out like a perfectly normal commercial, Marty. And then it sort of goes a bit bizarre.
It's for Knob Creek whiskey. Now, I've watched this a few times, and what it's about is it's Fred Noe of Knob Creek, who he talks about hard work and about how you put all your energies into the things that you love and all this kind of jazz, right? Now, bearing in mind, this is whiskey that he makes. So about 2 minutes, and this is about 5 minutes long, this advert, and about 2 minutes into it, 2.5 minutes into it, they introduce a guy called Jesse Israel. I have no idea whether that's his real name or not. And he is he was a music producer or something to do with entertainment, but now he does mindfulness and meditation and all this kind of stuff. So halfway through it, he goes, your power of your mind needs to do this. So basically, it's a tie-up between Knob Creek and meditation or mindfulness. Now, I don't know how much meditation you're going to do, with half a dozen halfings of silky in you. I don't see how that sort of ties up. You need to meditate and be mindful and take time out, and as the idea that while you're sitting in your the lotus position, you have a Guinness and a bourbon. I don't understand the advert. It's a bit of a strange tie-up. I wish you could see it and go on and watch it, because it is a bit sort of nuts, but it's worth watching. It's worth having a look at.
There's the link there. There's the link there. You can click on it yourself. Not now, after this. Or if you want to nip over to YouTube, watch it, come back. We're talking about Whisky Places tonight, and we're going all around the world, more or less, tonight to very strange whisky places. So, Marty, you've got one more story for us, but I do believe, don't you?
No. Not in the news, Justin. Oh,
I thought that you said there was something we didn't have graphics for.
Aye, this is the thing, right? I got contacted last week by a guy in Canada. I'm not giving out his name but you know who he is. About the poster behind me, McAllister and Sons. He said that his dad was from Ballymena. Now I'm from Ballymena. That's why this is here. What I will say is, I did a little bit of ringing around and got in touch with certainly with one person anyway. Stay tuned because there'll be more about it, more about McAllister's whiskey. McAllister's was in Bryan Street in Ballymena. They didn't have a distillery. They were a bottler and a bonder. They were very big. So there'll be more on that. We'll come back to that. Stay tuned. That would be in the pipeline. So there you go.
A drop of the Irish has posed a question about some of the Bushmills releases, but we do know that some of the Bushmills releases aren't available in certain territories and other ones are available elsewhere, sort of thing, isn't it? Isn't that the case?
Yeah, they've done this, and it's much to the chagrin of a lot of people. There was 2 releases in Ireland. There was one in the UK. There was one in Australia. One in Germany. I don't know really where they're coming, how they're coming along, or when they're coming out, or whatever. They don't seem to have it tied up the way you would kind of expect. So for people who do want to collect, and there's nothing wrong with collecting whiskey, right? We'll just establish that. I've a decent enough collection myself, but for people who want to collect the Causeway Coast range, it's going to cost them an awful lot of money, and I mean a lot of money to get, because they have to buy them now with all the Brexit-y stuff. If they release one in Germany, can you get it posted over to the UK, etc., etc.? So I don't know. If they release another one in the UK, can you get it posted over to Ireland? Who knows? So I don't know. I saw a new Bushmills being listed. It's not for sale yet. Just earlier on today, can't even remember what it was, but it's not for sale yet. So I don't know. They're releasing these across different places, but I would imagine you'll see an awful lot more cask strengths coming out of Bushmills in the not too distant future, I would have thought.
Okay, so this week's all about Whisky Places. Where are we heading to first?
The exotic climes of Hillsborough, just outside Belfast. Now, Hillsborough, for anyone who doesn't know, is where the Queen's official residence is, Hillsborough Castle.
Is this Hillsborough or is that Mount Stewart? It looks like Mount Stewart.
No, that's Hillsborough Castle.
All right.
That's the garden out the back.
It is.
Right. Hillsborough Castle is in Hillsborough, and its name comes from Sir Moses Hill. Now, Moses Hill was an English adventurer, basically in the pay of the king, and he got granted lots of lands, and they became the Marquesses of Downshire, his family, his descendants. But Moses Hill, I got this from Dr. Jonathan Barden, and I've never been able to get the evidence to back it up. He promised me that he would try and find where he got it from, but he couldn't get it, and then unfortunately passed away last year. Moses Hill basically cheated the exchequer out of money by not paying taxes on whiskies, importing stuff. There was cheaper. You could import stuff over to England, and he changed the colour of a barrel. Changed the colour of barrels so he didn't have to pay as much import duty over in England. So
I love it when they do things like this.
Oh, I love it. I love it too. Right. So the Queen's house is basically passed down from a guy from whiskey money that he made from whiskey. The hills, there is Hillsborough lots of Hillsboroughs in America, and they're all named from this place. They're all named from that place there. So Will Hill, he was basically the guy who lost the colonies. He certainly played a part in it. That was one of the descendants from this house. Now, reason how this all ties up, right? The Whisky River. There's a river runs down now. The Lagan, I know, runs down through Hillsborough as well, but there's another river that runs from Causeway down. And I have to thank the Hillside Pub and the Hibernial Landscapes websites for getting this information. The river that flowed from there, from what's now Hillsborough Lake, down through Causeway, there was a distillery on it, and it opened in 1826. The guy who opened it, I love these names. This is a fabulous name. Hercules Bradshaw. I mean, there's not enough Herculeses being christened these days, you know. It's a fabulous
that
name.
The name of the horse in Steptoe and Son was called Hercules.
Yes, that was true. And Samson and Goliath, the two big cranes in Belfast, they were named after cart horses in the shipyards. So anyway, Hercules Bradshaw leased the land from Lord Downshire, and this is an interesting thing too. Lord Downshire, the hills land extent, it was vast. It was said that they could travel to Dublin and not go out of sight of some of their land. They could travel from Hillsborough to Dublin and never lose sight of land property that they owned. It was big time people. But when the distillery was in operation, the one place in his properties that he couldn't go was inside the warehouse, because he wasn't a revenue inspector. He wasn't from Customs and Excise, so he wasn't allowed in. This would probably have greatly irked the Lord at the time. But anyway, the distillery had 3 stills, and it was using 2,000 tons of grain a year. And the story goes that there was a mistake in the accountancy in the inventory. So they got wind that the tax inspectors were going to come down and have a look. And they discovered that there was too many barrels. So what they did was, they were told, pour it into the river. Now, the locals came down and were filling buckets and, bathtubs, I'm sure, filled with whiskey. It was supposed to be poured into the river, but I would imagine there was plenty of people catching it before it got the length of the river. So it was said that the whole of Hillsborough was drunk for about 3 weeks, which is understandable. So that was where the name of the river came from. So it was called basically the Whisky River. The distillery lasted until 1865, and then it closed. I'm surprised with the way things have been going with Irish whiskey that someone hasn't decided, we'll reopen the Hillsborough distillery. We'll start branding Hillsborough Hercules whiskey, Hercules Irish whiskey, etc., and rebrand it and put down the history from 1826, etc., because they've been doing this all over the place. Now, interestingly, Hillsborough in New Jersey, a man called, and this is another great name too, Camden Winkelstein. That's a nice name. Hillsborough in New Jersey, he's opening a distillery over there, the Ballymara distillery.
I hope you're saying that right, because Frank Hearn is saying you said Culcavey wrong. It's said Cool Cave E. You're not from County Down. You're saying it wrong. Yeah. There you go.
See, I'm only a mere peasant from County Antrim. We are obviously we're the lower class of Ulster people. So I do apologise. Frank. Please forgive me. I've almost got blown up last week. So you've
got to laugh. Listen, do us a favor, folks. Comment, like, and share, and hit the bell and hit subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, because it helps us go up the ratings, and other people get to know about it that are interested in whiskey. And well, I was talking to a bag called Brian tonight, who I'm interviewing later on the week, about the Burns Night, and he says he's a whiskey fan too. So if you're watching, Brian, type in the comments and say hello. Good evening to everyone, wherever you're watching all around the world. We'll get to your questions if you have any later on in the show, but we're talking whiskey places this week. Where are we heading to now, Marty?
We are heading, my old son, to Northern California. Now, I'll just clarify this. There are lots of places with whiskey in the name, right? You have like little whiskey and big whiskies and all this kind of stuff, especially in the States. There's loads of places, but I picked out a few good ones. The place, Unforgiven, the film, brilliant Clint Eastwood film, love the film. That's the town of big whiskey. So, Whiskey Town in California. This is Northern California. The reason I picked this was it's an old mining town, but it's not just any old mining town. It's a mining town that they decided to flood, right? So they actually moved. Nobody really lived there anymore, but they moved parts of the town out of it, including they exhumed all the bodies in the cemetery and brought them up. So this new sort of semi-ghost town in California, and they've made it into a resort because they filled all this in, and they've got, let me see now, it's something like 38 miles of coastline. So it's a recreational place. It looks quite nice. Saying that's Northern California, so it's pretty much always going to look nice. But
yes,
it was an old-fashioned, an old gold mining town. It was established in 1849. There's two stories about how it got its name. One, a barrel of whiskey fell off a mule cart and rolled into the little creek that was down there. Seems plausible enough, but it doesn't seem a big enough reason to call it a whiskey town. The other story is that there was all the miners that were there were able to drink a full barrel of whiskey every single day. Now, there was 1,000 miners there. Okay, it's established in 1849. And if you go on to Wikipedia, which obviously Wikipedia always tells the truth, so it must be true, must be right.
This is a lot of whiskey. A lot of whiskey. This is a lot of whiskey.
A lot of whiskey. For 1,000 people, fair enough, but it's still a lot of whiskey to be drinking a full barrel a day. Now, according to Wikipedia, the town was established in 1849. The first woman arrived in 1852. So 1,000 men and no women. I'm going to say the donkeys were very attractive looking, I would have thought at that time. So 3 years they went. Now these guys were making $50 a day on average. That's what this is what I'm saying. $50 a day, which is nearly $1,700 in today's money. That's what they were making. So they built the Whiskey Town Dam to flood the place. And this was opened by JFK. Flooded the place, and they basically moved what little bit was left out, including the entire cemetery. And if you go on to one of the travel review sites, the travel review site says that the cemetery was moved, and as it was in, the other was where it was inundated. The graves up at the thing have benches to them where people can come and socialise and have a beer. Now, I remember drinking tins of beer in cemeteries when I was a bit of a kid, right? Because you were scared in case you got caught, and you knew nobody was in a cemetery. This was a fairly standard thing back in the day. But I don't remember having any furniture and upholstery to settle. It just seems a bit strange.
Listen, you must have led a bad life. I went to Scouts on a Friday night. I didn't go drinking.
Oh no, just I went drinking. No point in me hiding this. That was about the only thing we had to do in Dunclog at the time. But no, the thing is, imagine I phoned you up, Justin. You all right? Fancy going for a beer? Hi, where do you want to go? Do you want to go to Stadies? Do you want to go? No, what about the cemetery? We'll go and sit in the cemetery. Oh, my great granny was in Whiskey Town. I'm not going to a few tins at Harp Town, It just seems the places around it are pretty good. The road that gets you to Whisky Town is called Eureka Town, or Eureka Road, sorry. This is fair enough. 2 other places beside it are Brandy Creek and Murder Gulch. So I don't know what's been on there, but it just seems, I don't know, it just seems like a really sort of weird place, you know?
Yeah, a bizarre place. But there's even more bizarre places connected with whiskey in the world than that. There's a war, is there not? Is there a whiskey war that's
Now,
still ongoing?
Just before we go, we're talking about conflict, Justin. We have to talk about resolution and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, what we're going to talk about, there's Canada, and I know we have a lot of Canadians watch here. Canada, a place called Windsor. There's a part of it called Whisky Town, apparently. It's where Hiram Walker established the distillery. The Hiram Walker Canadian club, he was actually born in the States and moved up. Now, they held a Whisky Town festival. Where did they have it, Justin? Where did they hold the festival? You think, a bar, restaurant.
Is this the right graphic? Is that the right graphic? It's a little map,
Nope.
Is it? Yeah?
Nope.
It's not the right one? Oh, we'll hide that one. I'll find the right one of it. Oh yes, I'll find that
They held it.
Right. I have no idea where they held.
They held it in St. Mary's Anglican Church. I don't know how good a whiskey festival would be. Well, it's listed as St. Mary's Anglican Church. Now, bring it up in full screen.
It's a church.
So 2019, it is a church. It's just, I don't know how fun it would be being in there, being in a church. I've been to a few funerals where I've had an absolute whale of a time because the drinks flowed mightily. But it's a kind of a different thing, you know. Where are we going to have it? Oh, the bars, blah, blah, blah. No, down the church, happy days. Down there, the minister, he likes a drink, happy days, we'll get him pissed. And on we go, you know. It just seems a bit bizarre to me.
I know. But each to their own, each to their own.
To each their own, Justin. That is quite correct, my friend. Now, there's just another quick one. There's a Whiskey Point in Kansas, right, which is listed on ghosttown.com, which is a site for people in the US, because there's loads of these little towns that were established way back in the 19th century and abandoned. So it's listed on ghosttowns.com. There was a Whiskey Point, there was a Whiskey Lake, but it dried up. On Ghost Towns it says, a preacher once said he would rather die in Junction City than live in Whiskey Point. Now, it seems to have been a bit of a rough place because on the 14th of May, 1862, 2 soldiers were killed. One was wounded. So the marshal took revenge and he destroyed all the saloons and all the brothels, which were said to be the main source of employment and revenue in the town. So it is, it sounds like a bit of a weird place. Now it's deserted, but it's still there's still stuff there. So Whiskey Point in Kansas, another whiskey named.
Well,
Thank you.
It's interesting to wonder how these places get their name. Now you know.
Yeah, as I say, there are loads of places. There's loads of places that have the name whiskey in them. They tend to be in the States for various reasons. I picked some of these out because I thought they were actually quite fun. I thought they were a bit different, and the next one, it's a bit contrived. The whiskey link is there, but this is called the Whiskey War. Now, you might think this is something to do with the Whiskey Rebellion back in the late 1780s, or something to do with Prohibition. It's not. This little island between Denmark and Greenland is in dispute. Now, it's called Hans Island. And what happened was, Hans Island, the Whisky War is a quasi-war between Canada and Denmark. So in 1973, there was a border treaty signed between Denmark, which controls or certainly controlled Greenland, and Canada. But the theoretical border in the sea runs right through the middle of this little chunk of rock. Now, in 1984, Denmark sort of kicked off the war by hello.
For some reason, we've lost your picture tonight. For some reason, I don't know what's going on. We've lost your picture. You're still there, are you?
I can hear you. Yep, we've lost the pictures. You still have sound.
I think we'll have sound back again, but we've lost the picture. Log out and log back in again for me, will you?
Oh, you don't give me 2 minutes.
So you're watching the Irish Whiskey Review. We're talking Whisky Places tonight. We're at Hans Island, where it's disputed between Denmark and Canada, where they leave whiskey bottles there every time they invade and hoist their respective flags. You can see that in the poster there. If you would like to comment, like, and share, all you have to do is hit the things below, comment, like, and share. And here, Sen, tell a joke, Justin. I can't tell jokes. If I tell jokes, we'd get banned for good. Here we go. Marty's back in the room again. Fingers crossed he pops back up again. And he is back and he can hear us. And we have picture. You're back in the room again.
I need a drink. No, it's with the internet down here. We're supposed to be getting an upgrade. But thank you very much. I wholeheartedly concur. Yes, we're supposed to be getting an upgrade, which shouldn't be too hard to get an upgrade from what we have. But
No.
I was talking about the war between
You were talking about the whiskey bottle that stick up on Hans Island here.
Yes.
And I took us out a shot and put it in main screen, and then your picture went for some reason, and then the sound went. I've no idea. No idea.
Well, put it like this. This is. I have to move any shot here. I have to get more centered. No, this is the problem with going live, Justin. This is what we have to do now. Denmark and Canada. Denmark planted a flag, left a bottle of brandy. Some people say it was schnapps. Some people say it was brandy. I'm not 100% sure which, but there's two different versions. Now, this between Greenland and Ellesmere Island. Now, what happened then was the Canadians arrived over. They took down the Danish flag, stuck up the Canadian flag, and left a bottle of Canadian whiskey. 6 months later, the Danish come over. They take down the Canadian flag, stick up their own flag, and leave a bottle of schnapps. And this has been going on for a very long time now. So it's a good, well-natured kind of thing. But when it's all said and done, the problem is, whoever has the rights to this has the mineral rights. Now, there was, in 2018, a joint task force set up to try and solve this problem once and for all. And you thought, right, that's fair enough. However, the Canadian government granted a guy the rights to explore for mineral rights around the island. So that's kicked it all off again. So they're going to have to go and buy another bottle of whiskey. So this is a good-natured war, but it is basically a conflict over a little lump of rock. But it might prove out that, if they discover oil there, or I don't know, lithium or whatever the big thing is at the minute, if they discover that there, you can see it kicking off. Now, You might think Canada, by the way, their army is going to be a lot bigger than the Danish. It actually isn't. If you check it out, there's not a huge amount of difference in it. It's bigger, but it's not much bigger.
I can tell you that island definitely belongs to Britain because it didn't become part of Canada when Canada got their independence.
Do you think the Royal Navy should have a base?
Just throw that in there.
Just
throw that in there. Oh, yes. Oh, Linda Cox is agreeing with me. She's agreeing with me. Sean McClanagan says it's Canadian. There you go. Look at that there. Oh, it's all kicked off tonight. As well, nobody actually speaks Danish, but the Danish subtitles are probably coming up 2 minutes later, and we'll probably have death threats from Denmark, the same as we had death threats from people that do social media but don't like you sharing stuff.
Justin get his cage rattled earlier on in the week.
Who's drinking the whiskey?
I'm going to say the captain of the boats. I would imagine.
Who's drinking the whiskey and snaps? Nobody is.
No, he's talking about the stuff that's left on Hans Island. He's the stuff that's left on the island. I would imagine the boat that comes over with the flag, they take it down, pick the whiskey up, and take it away and drink it. But it's not technically named Whiskey Island, but it's named as the Whiskey War because of this exchange of thing. Now, it's good natured, but you can see there's a serious point to it because you have that and you control shipping lanes and all that kind of jazz. So, yeah, it's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt,
Northwest Passage. I prefer the Southeast Passage myself to the Northwest Passage. Oh, boy. The old ones are the good. Is that a good enough joke for you? Somebody told me to tell a joke there whenever you dropped out. I didn't tell a joke because we get struck off. There you go.
Oh, no. You're not allowed to tell jokes these days in case you offend
somebody. Where are we heading now? I know that. We've only 15 minutes left tonight. Where are we heading next? I've had enough of Hans Island. It looks like Craggy Island, a cold and forbidden place.
Cold and forbidden place. We're going to head to Scotland. Now, again, this isn't called Whiskey Island, but there's a whiskey connection to it. This is Discussion Island. And maybe the Danish and the Canadians could go to Discussion Island to sort out their differences. Because what happened at this? This is a small island in Loch Leven, down beside Ballyhullish, which I know quite well. Now, you go down, it's called Discussion Island, or, and please forgive me, the Gaelic speakers, Island O'Combra, I think that's roughly how you pronounce it. Anyway, traditionally people who had disputes, what they did was they sent them out onto this island with a block of cheese and a bottle of whiskey and told them to get it sorted, right? And then come back anyway. Now, anyone who knows anything about the Scottish lochs, I had a friend one time who decided to go canoeing with his cousin on the Scottish lochs. One, it's always cold, right? Even in summer, it's always going to be a bit parking, right? It's always going to be a little bit cold. But by far and away, the worst thing is the midges. Those little flies that come off the thing in the billions. And they bite you. They're just irritating. Now, if you were out on that, basically what you would be told is get the whiskey in you as quick as possible, get the cheese in, and get in before the midges all start. So they were basically there was method to it. Get them out there, otherwise you're going to get up in midges. So go out, have a drink, get it sorted, and come back in. So it's not Whiskey Island, but it's worth doing. It's worth. There's a website called the islandofdiscussion.com, right? And on it says, "Man, this is profound advice, Justin. You should listen to this because whenever your man gets back to you again tonight and says, oh, I don't know, he's going to come and get you." Right? Victory is not over the other person, but over one's own ignorance. That's what you should quote to him. You should put that in an email and say, look, do you want to go to Discussion Island with a block of cheddar and a bottle of Silky and take it up to him? That's what you could do, Justin. Then hit him over the head with it.
Send the Albanians round. Bring it on. That's what I say. Remember, we're from Northern Ireland. All right? So there you go. That's the island of discussion. There it is. There.
Just whenever you say that, Justin, the man who said, "I have a very special set of skills. I will come and I will find you." He used to work in McAllister's. He worked in McAllister's, so he did.
All right.
He did indeed.
Yeah. He did indeed. Yeah.
There's lots of these places nicknamed Whisky Island. So you can nickname Hans Island or Whisky War Place, Discussion Island to do with whiskey, Islay in Scotland, where you have your Lefroys and Ardbegs and Bowmore and all that. Its nickname is Whisky Island. But I've discovered two places that are actually called Whisky Island, one of which is in Canada. And
is this the right graphic? Is this the right graphic?
Yes, it
is it? I think it is. Yes, it is.
This is the graphic.
Yeah, there we go.
This is Whisky Island near Ontario, in Ontario, Canada. And the wee bit, the bit that sort of pokes out towards Whisky Island, you see, maybe can't read it, but you can see the wee red arrow. The bit that pokes out towards it, I love the name of this. It's Peekaboo Point. Peekaboo. People like, Peekaboo. Peekaboo Point. It's just bizarre. But Whisky Island, that's one Whisky Island. The next one's the one. This is the one, Justin. Fire it up.
Right.
It's that one, but that's not
that one.
We want.
Is it that one?
Because this Whisky Island that's the one. This is Whisky Island in upstate New York. Okay. And it's in part of the Thousand Islands. Okay. And it's on the St. Lawrence River. And this is up for sale for $2.95 million. Now,
hold on.
It has. Justin, don't come out with that. I know you have plenty of money. Driving your wee sports car, buying coffee all over the place, car. Selling stuff from the boot of the car. I know what you're at. You and your Bitcoin. This is for sale, right? 2.9, nearly $3 million. I think you'll get it a bit cheaper than that if you ask. If you're paying cash, you'll probably get it cheaper. Anyway, 3.1 acres, and its name comes from it used to be used as a drop-off point for the bootleggers during Prohibition. So the Canadians would come down, drop whiskey there, the Americans would come up, pick it up, and then go. Al Capone and the guys or whoever took it away and sold it. Now it comes with the main lodge is 8 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, family room, library. It's actually got a commercial kitchen, so you could open it up as a holiday home, that kind of jazz. And then it has another 2-bedroom cottage, and it also then has a boathouse, where you can keep your boat moored and go down and probably a bit like a man cave. So this is for sale now. If you go onto this website, Islands for Sale, there's loads of them. People, big, massive things in the Maldives and all. There's 4 for sale in Ireland. West Cave, I only wrote down 2. West Cave, down in West Cork. There's another one, Lees Island in Galway. You buy these private islands and if you're me sort of thing. Personally, I would prefer the one in the States. Are probably a bit better than one stuck in up the west coast of Ireland, where the Atlantic's going to just, you go out of an evening and you could end up in the middle of Athlone somewhere as the wind just picks you up and tears you over. But go on and have a look at these private islands, because that is something else. These things, price on inquiry, it's like a 120-acre island in the Maldives. I'm going to say if you have to ask the price, there's not much point in going on and looking for it, there's all over the place. Scotland, Ireland, Italy,
When I was going to buy a handbag for somebody for Valentine's Day, I went into this place in Knightsbridge, and nothing had the price on it. And I thought, that's a bit strange, because everything has to have the price on it by law. And I says, how much is that? Because she got it nicked on the underground. and I, not a bit of wonder you got it nicked in the underground. And this is a right few years ago now. This is a right few years ago, and it wasn't the dearest of handbags, but when I opened it up and looked at the price inside, it had zeros at it, and the zeros were not the pennies and the tens. They were the.
I know a guy.
Yeah,
no, he worked with me in Michelin. So this guy wasn't a multi-millionaire. He's well enough off, but he wasn't well at himself as such. And him and his friend and the two wives went to London, and George and Fred they went and had a few drinks and whatnot. And the girls decided they were going to go and do a bit of shopping. So they ended up in the Louis Vuitton shop. Now the first thing that the Louis Vuitton, look at his wee face. Right, the first thing that happened was whenever they come in, they sat down. But Madame's like a box of champagne. So basically, champagne, and then they felt obliged to buy something. One of them bought a handbag at £1,200, and the other one bought a scarf at £600. Because they felt, well, they sort of had to buy something, and it was the cheapest thing they had. £600 scarf. So Jordy made her take it back the next day, get her money back. But this is how some people live their life, you know. They've been going and buying private islands and £600 little.
I'm not surprised.
It's just another world. But that's really the Whisky
that
Places.
Is absolutely.
That's really the Whisky Places that I discovered. I thought some of these were quite funny.
So you've been collecting these for a while, these Whisky Places?
I had a look a couple of weeks ago because
you've been collecting these over.
I've been checking stuff out and keeping an eye on it. But the thing is, this is the point of whiskey. It's a different drink. You know, all of this sort of history and things that you can hang your hat on and have a bit of a laugh and a giggle with, and you know, wee funny stories and that kind of thing. I'd love to go to Peekaboo Point. I think that's my new place. Peekaboo Point, looking out the Whiskey Island.
No. We'll just mention a few of the things coming in here. It's Frank Heron said, and you think Irish whiskey is expensive?
Well, put it like this: there's bottles of whiskey at the minute that the price of just shot up to a point where I have a funny feeling that the next auction there's just going to be an absolute deluge of Middleton Very Rare trying to be sold, because whenever people see, I mean, it's kind of crazy, you know. Bottles 2013 Middleton Very Rare starting to go for £800. A couple of 2 months ago it was.
They're basically starting to devalue. They're devaluing it by doing stuff like that, really, aren't they? They're devaluing it by doing stuff like that.
No, I mean the price of them shooting up, but it's really just rocketed in the last couple of months. Really, since and I know it's sort of two unconnected things, but since the Bushmills stuff came out, the ones that you can't get over here, the ones that are a bit rarer, are just flying off the shelf and just rocketing up as well. So I mean, it's just I priced out in the market kind of thing. I mean, the likes of this silky, this is really good. This is good quality stuff, and this is like £40 a bottle, 35, £40 a bottle, well worth it. So I don't know. I just think that the prices, it's not a healthy position at the minute. And don't get me wrong, I have whiskey sitting in there that now it's worth an awful lot more than what I paid for it. But that's what I mean. It's now getting to a point where around Christmas time, I said about opening one of the bottles that I had sitting. I probably at some point will open all of those, and they're £100, £100 bottles, which in the grand scheme of things is not expensive. But some of them you're sitting thinking, yeah, I opened these. What are you going to say, Matt?
We're being asked there any predictions for the year ahead apart from prices going up. Any predictions for the year ahead apart from prices going up? Anything to look out for release-wise?
I'm going to say there'll be more Bushmills cask strengths, which are always going to be super. Ecklandville keep teasing us with they're possibly going to do it at some point later on in the end of 2021. There's so many distilleries that have stuff coming out. Now, our good friends down at Kilowatt, again, anyone who listens to the podcasts, we did not, our first one, we talked a bit more about Poaching. Poaching is probably the original Irish spirit, because whiskey has to have a certain process. By law, it has to be aged for 3 years. So Poaching would have been the original spirit. And really, it's starting from a zero plateau. Now, Cologne are going to be doing some experimental poachings at the launch with Paul at Belfast Whisky Week. Brendan said this, they're going to be doing some experimental mash bills for poaching. That'll be exciting, really, really good. And who knows what there's seems to be an awful lot of people trying to find different cask finishes, which is okay. It's nice. It's a bit more. It's nice to have those different kind of. I would like to start seeing some of the distilleries that are doing a bit more just your ordinary spirit, where it's just them setting out, this is our, if you like, core range. I'd like to see a bit more of that starting to come in, but there's probably not just enough distilleries with their own product just yet, you know. But I see Trevor Watson has asked, does Marty smell
just
like
time for one final question tonight?
No, not all the time, but I've only opened this. I smell it quite a lot. You always have in the nose, just because when it's only open, it's not as good as it will be later on. The ordinary silky. I say the ordinary silky. The main one, just the ordinary silky. It just improves the longer it's open. The longer you have it open, it just gets better and better and better.
Okay, just time to say the Dunville PX got a great review, but not easy to get now. No, they're not easy to get. You need to look around. Something like the Cologne Poaching is Julie's favourite. Frank Hearn's agreeing. You know,
right.
So I want to taste it, not to make money on it. That's
Yeah.
right. And there you go. Drop of the Irish. He's got Bill, Phil, JJ, Corey, and Hinch peated for 190 euros, including shipping. Prices are up. Yeah, that's rather nice. Dale McDonald got his hands on a bottle of Yellow Spot, and he's absolutely in love. And on that note, we'll leave you, and we'll catch you Wednesday
one quick
evening.
thing. Dale, I did a review of all the Spot range, the green, yellow, blue, and red. And yellow's my favourite of them all. I think it's fabulous stuff. Fabulous stuff.
Okay, you can find all the shows on Irish Whiskey Review on YouTube. Archived there, easier to find. Remember to subscribe and hit the bell on YouTube, and also like us, comment, and share on Facebook as well. Patrick Mulkey, good evening to you. Great show again, as always. Thanks very much. John Dunn, great show. Take care, lads. Catch you all again next week. Don't be putting coffee on in the morning, Marty.
Wish me luck for this week, guys, so I don't get poisoned and bleed smithereens. Okay, wish me luck. All right.
All right.
Okay.